Hello and welcome back to Talkin Pitchside. I'm your host PJ with my co-host Tony, as always, here to cover all things MLS. And Tony, we've got a lot of MLS to cover this week because we've got the full recap from the weekend, a crazy weekend of results, and then we've got midweek games this week, which you're going to see here and there because we're behind on schedule because of all these breaks. So we're back to full go MLS. We'll have a full slate on Wednesday. And we're gonna do a little mini preview, and then of course we've got Stin do his preview of games as well. And if you're listening now, I will tell you to listen to that part of the podcast because it is an entertaining one from Stin this week. We've got a preview ahead of time, so definitely listen into that. But Tony, let's get into a recap here. Let's get into some games, and I think fittingly, Atlanta's number one on our list of games to recap. They win 2-1 against Red Bulls. I'd say a result that I was personally surprised by because of course, Atlanta's just natural form. They deserved the result. It was a pretty back and forth game. They came back after going down really early. Forsberg back on the score sheet for Red Bulls, and then they scored two late to get all 3 points at home. But the big news for Atlanta, although this is a big result, and they're trying just to stay above spoon watch at this point. They went out and get Swiss international Mbolo from Ligue 1, and he's going to come in. He's going to be one of the highest transfers ever in MLS. I think it's top 10. It was like 19, 20 million. 29-year-old, so he's not like an aging guy by any means. Like, he's in the prime of his career. He has proven it at a couple different clubs internationally. Great profile of guy to bring in, and it's exciting. I think we both are confident that he's the guy who's going to score goals and his presence will be felt on the field. But this is just step one for Atlanta. Like, they still need so much more around him to get the most out of this team. And, I believe they will. I mean, they're a team that I think it was 5 out of the top 10 transfers of all time have been through Atlanta. And, so they're going to go out there and probably support this transfer as well, whether it's this window or in the summer. Or in the winter. So we'll see how that goes for them. But I think a good move. I think it's a wise investment because you're getting a guy who's in the prime of his career. So you now have a runway with him. It's not like a Lukaku was another name that was pitched out there with Atlanta, and it's not a guy like that who you've got like maybe 2 years and then it's like over. Like, this is a guy making a move like this that could be here for the next 4 to 5 years if he doesn't want to go somewhere else. So. I think it's the smartest move out of all the things they were rumored with of like, what you're getting type of transfer.
Right. Just the way that Atlanta's been really this last season, I think, not that they didn't know that their just setup was pretty screwed up, but when you bring back Tata Martino and he says no coach is able to survive this, like no coach will be able to flourish with this, I think that opens up a lot of eyes and kind of reinstills a little bit more of the let's build towards something and not just throw money at an issue. And so, like, they're starting to make baby steps, but it's going to take several steps to get back to where they were. But getting out Latte Loth, now bringing in Bolo, like, these are the right moves for them to be making. This is what everybody's been asking them to make. So you can't fault this. I think that hopefully it goes even a smidge better than Latte Loth is still like a huge boost for this team because they just needed absolutely anything. There's still room to grow. There's still moves that need to be made on outbound transfers, but you can only ask for one thing at a time with Atlanta. Money's no object. They're showing that yet again. It's not like the wells run dry. So I think this is a little bit par for the course for them, but it's signs of hopefully good things to come for them. So that's all fun and good, and a little bit ahead of schedule here, getting like their 4th win of the season or something like that against this Red Bull team, which honestly a little bit surprising. But we've known with this Red Bull team too that the ceiling, like while the ceiling's decently placed, the floor can get pretty low as well. And you see very inconsistent results out of this Red Bull team. Obviously, the age shows very young defensive core that really let this Atlanta team that struggled to score kind of walk on them a little bit. And Atlanta had some other good opportunities that they didn't capitalize on.
Yeah.
Mayumba had another chance that he sent to Row Z that like probably should have been on target and probably should have been a goal. So like there's moments like that too where it's just like this could have been worse. I know the Baby Bowls have had their fun moments. They're trying out some new stuff too with moving Julian Hall out wide and putting another youngster in Jimenez in the middle. He scored a few of his goals too. It's not like it's been completely baseless, but it does feel like you still have Choupo-Moting on the bench. Forsberg's carrying where he can. He gets a goal in this one, a nice one I might add. But it just feels like right now this is a pretty underdeveloped Red Bulls team, and you're gonna get inconsistency because of that when depth is tested.
Yeah, I mean it's a project that is going to look really good 2 years from now, in my opinion. Like, once these guys really get some like games under their belt and get moving, like this is a group that's going to be strong, and they're going to be well tested. And if you sell Choupo-Moting here soon, which I've got to imagine they're going to move off him during this off season, they will bring in somebody else to fill that void, maybe after the sprint season or something like that. So it's going to be an interesting time period when we do deal with the sprint season, because
Yeah.
no one's going to like bring anybody on just specifically for that season. It's going to be like for the following. So it's going to be a bizarro time period. But I think that helps or benefits a team like Red Bulls, where it's like, hey, we've got all these young guys. We'll just keep playing them because they're going to get reps in the sprint season and keep playing,
Yeah.
and we can reinforce for the actual season to follow. So I think you're going to get these bumps, you're going to get these bruises, these games that you are expected to win against poor teams, and these random results happen. But it happens the other way too. Like, they'll randomly beat in Miami or someone like that. You're like, oh, they showed up today and they played really
Yeah,
well.
look
So
out. Yeah.
it's going to be one of those NYCFC like teams come playoff time that we always talk about, where it's like you don't really know what you're going to get, but there's a chance they just get hot and they go on like a run here.
Right.
So that's what you're going to get with a young group like that. Next, we had Montreal and DC, and what I deemed the sicko game in my preview, and I think it lived up to the sicko line to this one. 1-1 draw. Montreal just, I think they had like it was 23 shots in total against this DC defense that held on for dear life. I did say in my preview as well, Ty Brabo will probably just score a goal in this game, and that's exactly what happened. And DC gets a well-fought point in terms of survivability in this one to get a point in the road. Montreal is definitely more disappointed with how this one ends. Alexis Sanchez was shown to the crowd, did not play or feature in this one. I gotta feel like it might not be midweek, but the next weekend, you might see him playing for Montreal, which would be exciting.
Yeah. I didn't want to throw shade like this, especially an Arsenal guy, but like when they were showing Alexis Sanchez,
He's old.
it kind of looked like a player reunion more than like here's our new signing kind of thing. So I was like, oh man, that's tough. That's gonna be so interesting to see what he brings. But I mean, for the most part, like, yeah, a pretty back and forth game here. Montreal, like, I don't know. You mentioned 23 shots. As far as XG goes and opportunity goes, they really had that penalty. Outside of that, they didn't generate much that I think challenged DC a whole lot. I think Sean Johnson had to make one or two saves. Well, yeah, because they got that many shots. So if you have like 0.1 XG every time, you're gonna.
I know, but it's like
but
I'm just saying, like, from a controlling the game perspective and even watching it, like, yes, the quality wasn't always there with the shots, but even like the other sub stats, like, I mean, touches, and they had 41 touches in DC's box. Like, how are we not getting better shots in that situation?
Well, that's part of the seriousness, I guess, of it, or the Montrealness of it all. But the field tilt was there. I'll give you that, and DC was surviving, but that also in the same way. I mean, I know we're talking about Montreal. That's a game last year that DC United loses. Like, that's, if a team plays like that against them, like that. So, and also having a goal scorer like Ty Brabo with that goal, which, by the way, like, I think that one's a little bit underrated in a lot of people's books, but like the diving near post run to kind of flick on to sneak in, like that is a tough shot to make. And I mean, we know from Brabo, we've watched him well enough now that he's that 1-2 touch warrior in the box. It doesn't matter, how you give it to him. He's gonna find a way. But like I was like, dang, that is a nice finish from Brabo, and DC United needs to keep him around for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's the old testament of like it's how you perform when you're at when you're not playing your best. And DC did not have their best, and they were able to get a point out of the game. And I think that's, like you said, something you have not seen for DC for the past 5 to 7 years. So
Yeah, right.
that's where we like this DC squad this year. Charlotte against Columbus Crew. Talk about a field tilt that did not go your way. Charlotte basically scored the three like really good chances they had in the game. It felt like, and they win this one 3-1. Columbus had 70% of possession, 26 shots, 57 touches in Charlotte's box, and could only get the one goal. It was two really good chances early that they finish in Charlotte, and then it was one late to seal it off. But besides that, it was all Columbus, and I think this is a great win for Charlotte. It doesn't necessarily make me feel like great about how they're playing, despite getting 3 goals in a victory. St. Maximin did feature in the second half of this one, so that was good to see him get on the field. And then I actually came out of this one, ironically, still feeling good about Columbus if I was a Columbus fan, in terms of this is like you're starting to see Wilfred Nancy type Columbus come back out of this squad with the coaching pedigree that's been passed along here. Like this is more of the Columbus we've been used to for the past 4 years in terms of like ball control, getting our chances. Now it's just about finishing them. They haven't had a striker. Joseph Martinez gets signed, so we're going to be seeing him more often soon, and I'm sure that will help them here going forward. But all in all, like I think you've got to be super pumped about uh, if you're a Columbus fan about how the squad is playing right now. Like they didn't start a bunch of the normal guys as well. Like that wasn't something that happened. They were kind of rotating, and they brought in Mendez in the second half, who's been awesome. Gomez, Steven Barrera, Joseph Martinez, like all those guys come on the second half. So it was a rotated squad to begin with, and they're fighting uphill at that point when all those guys got in the game.
Yeah, I agree with that consensus. I think a little bit of this too, like obviously Charlotte probably disappointed. Well, I mean they don't care, they won, but like I think
Yes.
Charlotte fans, there's reasons to feel worry about, just what the underlying stats in this game said. Charlotte sat back some and played the bend don't break with this, which I think when you go against a team like Columbus, especially Columbus recently, you know how they're trying to play, which is outpossess you, work you around. You're going to have a little bit of that. The opportunities are on the counterattack. So I kind of see why it went that way. I don't think that a lot of the Charlotte games will like kind of spill into this look. You're looking at your phone like incredibly shocked
Sorry,
right now. Is
a
there
bomba came through. But finish your thought. Finish your thought. No,
okay,
you're
okay,
not gonna get it. I'll tell you what it is.
okay, all right.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
And then, but okay, I will say too, like for what the crew had, it wasn't great. So like just percentage chances. Now we're kind of talking again like we were. 0 great opportunities, 1 good opportunity, 6 average, and 19 poor. By the way, they're classified with XG. So a lot of small, just long range shots that peppered through whatever. Their one goal was really the one defensive breakdown in the back, and Chase Adams dunks on Tim Ream. But other than that, it really like was a pretty solid performance, I would say, from Charlotte. I think defensively they did what they wanted to do against Columbus, and that's probably why I would say like the initial fears about the underlying numbers from this game alone probably can be like just whelmed a little bit. Like I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that this is a red flag by any means. I think that they're sort of wanting to play like this, especially once they get St. Maximum online. They're going to be a team that's looking to come at you hard and fast and turn around quick transitions.
Yeah, totally. I get that, but I still think it's still. If I'm a Columbus fan, I'm still liking what I'm seeing from the squad since
Sure,
the
yeah.
turn of the World Cup. Okay, Bamba that came through was one we've been talking about. Mbolo. Apparently, this
Mhm.
transfer is off now.
Oh, no way. We just talked about it for that long and then okay, now we
So,
gotta. That's
yeah.
insane.
Let me go back up and read it. It's from like a French reporter that's like, I mean, he's a pretty big guy in terms of like and
Yeah.
that's where Ebola plays. And he was reportedly headed to Atlanta United, but the player purportedly rejected the approach and the salary proposal, and is now negotiating with newly promoted Premier League side Ipswich Town on going there on a deal.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that is
Oh.
bring in Darwin Nunez for Atlanta United. So that is a brutal gut punch. I am sorry, Atlanta
Dang.
fans. That's tough. That's tough. It's tough.
Just when we
Rip,
were
rip, rip
gassing him
Tom
up
Bogert, by
too,
the way.
like making the right
Yeah,
moves.
Tom Bogert.
Ah, yeah.
Bad
He couldn't
reporting.
get on that
Man.
one. Yeah, he can't win them all. He can't win them
Okay,
all.
well let's get into
Wow.
our team here in Cincinnati, Orlando. This ends in a 1-1 draw at Orlando. I mean, if you just watch this game, was probably the most even game I've watched in a long time. Like both sides, I don't think can say they deserve more than a draw out of this game. Like they both had their chances to extend it from 1-1 and get a victory. Neither of them could get it across. And I mean, even like statistics wise, it was pretty even. And I think in this case, I mean, I know I'm biased because I'm an FC Cincinnati fan, but I think the tie goes to the road team in terms of MLS, and I think for a side like Orlando has been playing well, FC Cincinnati's been playing well. I think FC Cincinnati's got to be happy getting a point on the road in this one, going into a 2-game week. So, um, yeah, it was an even matchup. I think the storylines that are coming out of this one really are more off the field for these teams and what more they're doing. Um, of course, there's been all the reporting in the world about Kevin Danke possibly going to whole city for like 20 plus million type deal, which I think those in the FC Cincinnati world of things are kind of saying if that's true, then please do it. If it's going to be a fee that large,
Yeah.
and it's nothing against like I think unbiased PJ aside, like I think Kevin Danke has been a good MLS striker. Like he finishes his chances here and there. Like he gets 50. He's going to get you 15 plus goals a season, and I just don't know if he's going to be more than that. And I think if there's teams legitimately offering you that much to get out of this for like selling him more than you bought him for, then I don't know how as a Cincinnati front office you don't take that opportunity and um, try and allocate those funds to maybe another striker, to somewhere else in the team, and maybe even it's like a lesser striker and upgrading the defense as well. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the strategy would be, but it feels like a no-brainer. And it's not. I'm not even like a huge Kevin Danke hater. Now, recently, he's. I think this is where my bias comes to play. Is I've seen him miss a lot of chances lately that he could be winning games. Like he
Including
had
this
one that
game.
was like, dude, you gotta hit the net. Like if he hits the net on an open net, like the FC Cincinnati comes out of this game with 3 points, and he wasn't able to do it. And that's where I'm like, if you're having Premier League clubs come for a guy like this that hasn't been consistent for you enough in the MLS, playing in a guy in front of playing like in front of Evander, where you're getting every chance in the world to score. I think you just kind of take it and like be like, awesome. Like we didn't lose money on this. We maybe possibly made money on this one. Let's get out of it. Let's bring in another young striker to go along with Evander, because I think you have so much more confidence in the player that Evander is and the way he's going to set up his teammates and himself at times to get anyone goals. Like I mean, we've seen it with Mbobadam. We've seen it with Tom Barlow when he's come in at times. Like guys get their chances if you're playing in front of Evander, and
Yeah.
you're hoping with a guy Kevin Danke that would equal 20 plus goals a season, and that's just not the type of player he's been for FC Cincinnati thus far. So that's where I'm kind of in that boat. But on the field, fair result. I think both teams deserve a point on this one. Off the field, I think Cincinnati are still going to be heard from in terms of the MLS, whether it's outgoings or incomings.
Yeah, I think that honestly for this game, Orlando had a not a unique shape, but definitely brought a different approach to it. I think this is a bit of the Griezmann effect that we're experiencing and seeing them come out of their shell. Defensively, they were a little bit deeper than what we normally see from them. And I'm going based off of really all the numbers I normally look at for every game. Like they played a deeper game and just than normal. At the same time, they also dominated the heat map. They were all over the field, and I think when they sprang out on the attack, they came with numbers. It wasn't just
Mm-hmm.
Griezmann on an island, and so I think it led for a very fluid game. Uh, Honestly, I don't have like a distance traveled kind of metric, but I would think Orlando probably beat Cincinnati in that one, and just average distance that players ran. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Something to bring up, I guess, if we've got a double game week and all of that, that there's going to be a lot of minutes played in a short amount of time, and maybe that's not incredibly sustainable. But I thought that Orlando worked their butts off on this one to really find that point. And then on the other side of that, Cincinnati kind of looked a little bit in cruise control and got that. So that's
Mm-hmm.
maybe my only really commentary on this one is it felt like Orlando was bumping into their ceiling to reach 1 point at home versus Cincinnati was floating a little bit. So I'll give it
Yeah.
that. With the Kevin Danke conversation, I think that like you bring up like really all the best points when it comes to one side of the aisle of that conversation. I think that on the other side, a lot of that internal conversation in FC Cincinnati's camp looks like, but are we selling on the season? Like if we get rid of Danke, yeah, reallocating the funds is great. Can we do that right now, or are we kind of throwing ourselves away on a team that right now is middle of the road in the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference? Is that kind of raising the white flag? Or are we just going to cruise in and then run into a situation where we're having trouble scoring? Like you said, Evander always creates opportunities. I think Danke particularly tends to be like get on the more of the lone wolf side of things, and so he can kind of create the space for a shot himself. But like it doesn't really jive with what the rest of what's happening on the field is, and I think that's kind of the big question you have, and I don't know, like if you do sell him for a good number, that's awesome, but does that kind of just put the rest of the season at a loss? I think that's what they're trying to balance ultimately, because I get that there is fan push to like for a good number get him out. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want personally as an FC Cincinnati fan. I don't care what the number is he's going out for. If he's not getting replaced, I'm pretty worried by that, and
Oh
like
yeah.
and like honestly a little bit frustrated even if we got like a superstar for the sprint season. Like like I don't know. Like that's the part you got to really delicately balance, and like it's hard
Well,
to make
that
those
also,
phone calls too if you're
that
trying to
also
get
plays
in
a
that
factor.
person. Yeah,
Like the sprint season is a factor because these guys are in contracts, and like that's almost like a waste of a year on a
yeah,
contract because there's not much to it. And my only concern is not selling Danke now and waiting for the sprint season. Is like, is his value going to drop because he's not playing and it's in a weird sprint season? Like, and it's not going to time up well with these other leagues. So that is my only like push to be like, hey, if we're sticking to Evander wants to stay, awesome. But it feels like you're gonna have to sell a guy like Danke to like stabilize funds wise if you're getting offers like this. Like that's just and like
right.
yes, I agree. Like I'd want someone to come in. Like that's what my hope would be. It would be a move to move, which I think based on FC Cincinnati's past, that's what they've always done. It's been sell a guy to bring in a guy, and I appreciate that they do it that way. But if it is not done that way, it would be very concerning because I think the season
Pretty
would be probably
crazy.
be a wash, and
Right.
it would
Well, and that's the kind of situations where you end up with Giochini on a DP deal, and like that's happened too. So that's what I
yep
don't want to see with all of it. So all things
spread around
like you
three.
said, that's right. Spread around three. Here we go. That, I mean, what a cult hero if we brought him back again.
It'd be epic.
It would be insane. So like a lot of nuance there, a lot of conversations probably happening behind closed doors, a lot of egos to work with. Impossible to completely get the full picture from where we stand. Certainly going to be interesting to watch unfold if anything does, or it could be the
Hmm.
quietest window in FC Cincinnati history, and that's
Yep.
that too. So hard to say.
Also, eye test. This is a PJ eye test from this game.
Okay.
I don't even know if the numbers support this. Whatever. That's the best game I've seen Miles Robinson play all year. It's not even
Mm,
close. I think that was the best game I've seen Miles Robinson. Like there were some balls that he pace wise was tracking down and knocking out a play that I haven't seen from him, like that level of confidence. I think it was the best game that Matt Miazga and Miles Robinson have played together at all as well, like as a pairing. So I think that was
Yeah.
positive to see from the defense against a team like Orlando that has proven to put up goals with now Griezmann on the squad. So I think that was good to see. I know that Orlando had some guys missing, so I'm not going to overreact too much, but I think it was good for FC Cincinnati to have like a game like that where the scoring wasn't there because Orlando's playing deeper and probably playing deeper because the FC Cincinnati squad that scores a ton, and they didn't fold because of that. Like they were able to stay strong. There were some like nervy moments too, and the defenders made some good blocks. So uh, I think that's one positive you can take out of this as a FC Cincinnati fan is, hey, defense looked like an
Yeah.
average
Didn't
MLS
give up
defense
four.
tonight,
Yeah.
which we haven't seen very often. So that was good. Um, okay, let's
Yeah.
keep moving. Toronto beats New England, finally gets a win. That was positive for them. Disappointing for New England. Mihailovic gets a red in this one. That's like the classic. This is Toronto 101. Like they have this. They're gonna get this big win. Like they finally are winning, and then now you just don't have Mihailovic.
Yeah.
It's just not even hurt, just red card.
Again.
So
Yeah.
a positive that became a negative late in the game, and it's a game they didn't deserve to win by any means. New England was the better team, like across the board, but it's a finishing chance sport. If you finish your chances, you're going to win the game, and that's what Toronto did in this one. I guess with the help of New
Yeah. I
England.
mean, if you really. That's right. That's right. I was about to say, like, if there is a game for a team to be worried about their underlying numbers from or not read into a win too much, it's got to be Toronto here because they kind of got away with murder on this one. I mean, an own goal and then also like a screamer from Dortch, which was an awesome goal. But like outside of that, they had two other shots the whole game. That's it. Like it was really barren. New England peppering Toronto throughout the game, and I think that New England's been on a little bit of a slide, and I think they have their own disappointments that they need to address. But at the end of the day, they really deserved to win that game, and it didn't fall their way. On the Toronto side, like yeah, there's some systemic stuff with this game that made it not look not that great. I think too, like the Mihailovic red is a little bit deeper for me in the sense that like, I mean, he's supposed to be your guy right now. It's supposed to be him and Sargent. And then, like, you watch that red. It's definitely a red. It's kind of just a lazy way to get into a tackle,
Mm-hmm.
and then it happens to be studs in the back of the calf. And, like,
Yep.
I don't know. I just think that Toronto needs to be asking more of Mihailovic, and that's pretty disappointing. And he's already had his absences for injuries. Like, I just think they need more out of him. They need more out of everybody, right? I mean, it's Toronto, for goodness sake. But still, like, I think that's a win that it's like really hard to celebrate if you're a Toronto fan. Just like felt a little
Mm-hmm.
fluky. I guess you got to celebrate them as they come, but it was a bit fluky. You saw your leaders not really be leaders, and hey, maybe you can be excited for Dorsch now that like he's here and
Mm-hmm.
he's hitting nice goals. But yeah, I'd be kind of worried if I were Toronto.
Mm-hmm. For sure. It's not. It's a win. Like I've celebrated worse. I'm a Browns fan. I know what celebrating ugly looks like,
Yeah, you take
but
what you get.
it is like next week's gonna hit you in the face. You're like, oh yeah, our best player is just not playing because of a dumb lazy tackle. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to a team that sat in first place for a brief moment. The shocker team right now is Houston Dynamo. Beat the LA Galaxy 1-0. They're up early from penalty. Kind of hold on to that. The Galaxy get an early red card in the second half. Tony, I'm declaring this the appearance of the year from Aliu for Houston. Subs on 89th minute and gets a yellow in the 99th and a yellow in the 90 or the 101st
11.
minute of
Yeah.
this game and is sent off. So round of
Insane.
applause. That's
Yeah,
the appearance of
that's
the year.
right. He had a
from Aliu
mission.
so far. That he did his fucking job. He subbed on
Yeah.
the game. He did his fucking job. He didn't allow a goal. He made sure nothing got in the net. So good for him. Brutal showing from him for those 12 minutes. But Houston's coming out of the win. It's one of the storylines. One, by the way, not shocked that Galaxy are still playing like this. This team is doo crap. But Houston is like I don't know what to make of this team. I don't know because none of their wins are like beautiful, Tony. They're all
Right.
like they're all ugly. Duncan McGuire still has done nothing for this team. Like he has done nothing for this
Oh,
team, and they're winning games, and they're surviving, and just winning one goal games. And it's probably not sustainable for the whole year. But they've now come back and passed teams like LAFC, and they've passed teams like San Jose that got off to those hot starts, and they've just been consistent. Like that's what it is, and it really is that midfield spine that's now keeping this team together. And Jack McGlynn, Herrera, like these guys are playing really well right now, and that's what's keeping this team afloat, and not just afloat, elevating this team to win games. But they have definitely been playing teams that they should be beating. So I'm not gonna like crazy overreact, and I think that they are doing what they need to do. Just beat teams like the LA Galaxy. They're in a rough spot right now. So credit to Houston. It's a fun story. I'm glad they're gonna be back in the playoffs, hopefully, and like competing because we haven't seen that in a while. And this is a pretty historic team. So it's cool to see teams like them in Chicago get back in the mix this year.
yeah. I think that like when you look at this Houston team and where they're at, like there are a bunch of names that do sneak up on you. Like Guillerme's in the top five for goal scorers this season. Like you're talking about, McGuire hasn't done a thing for the Dynamo. Guillerme's done everything for the Dynamo. Like it's really been his season. He's popped up, but the return of Ache, like you were saying, McGlynn always has some sort of good distribution that you kind of sleep on. And then Artur as well is probably someone that needs to be mentioned. He's kind of an MLS veteran at this point. He's no Darlington Nagbe, but I mean he's always a guy that you can trust to feed a lot of minutes in MLS at that position, and he holds it down for the most part. So I think that it's a bunch of names that things are starting to click really well here, and the big thing I guess with where Houston's at right now. I know they moved on from Ponce or are going to move on from Ponce. Who do they replace with? Because if this is a team that's truly a second place team in the Western Conference, which we'll see kind of regression to the mean if they are not, but then that really does mean that they should only be a piece or two away from being a very, very serious competitor. They're in second place for goodness sakes. Obviously, the goalkeeping situation is one to watch. I don't think they're going to spend a DP there. But outside of that, it's like they've got, Bogusz is there, Duncan McGuire's there. Lawrence Anali at the right back spot, he snuck up a lot, and you always see his name on the score sheet too. So a lot to talk about with this Houston team, like where that next piece is. I remember like when they first announced McGlynn, we sat here and talked about like, I just don't see where it all fits together. Like it's kind of a hodgepodge of like, okay, we've got some good players here, but who's supposed to play where and when? And Houston's figuring that out. I think they've done a great job with it. On the other side, I think for Galaxy we do have to mention the Chucky Lozano debut. He already hit the field. I was not sure how quick that was going to be. I don't know if you saw the highlight towards the end of the game. Peyton still beat like four dudes and could have laid it off to Chucky to maybe equalize the game late, but took it himself and just skied it. And you just kind of wonder sometimes. Yeah, like just what like as an LA Galaxy player, how do you feel about all of this? And it sounded like there was a lot of conversations before anything happened, and like a lot of people gave their approval on it, but it's just.
Yeah,
I don't know. I wonder if that says more.
Thing is just Paintill's a shit player, so I'll say that. That's just he just sucks.
But
so.
he's not. But he's not. Like he's on a bad team. But Paintsill is not a bad player. You put Paintsill like if Paintsill was on the trading block, you know how many people would light up the Galaxy?
Yeah,
right
but he's
now
paid to be the best player on the team.
Okay, and like how many? Like there's still plenty of teams that would take him instantly. And imagine if he, like when he was not the best player on the team, cough, Ricky Puig, they won MLS Cup. So like,
oh, I get it. I'm just saying, like, that him not passing there is not like a look into it where it's like he wants the glory because he doesn't like Chucky Lozano. It's just he's a dumb player.
I will argue against myself in the one sense that it was like when it did work for the Galaxy, it was kind of like Pooj finding the channel between either Peck or Paintsill, and they ran in from behind and finished it themselves. They weren't always looking for that next pass. I'll argue it there. I'll clarify that. But I think that, I mean, this is a professional soccer player that
Needs to lay it
like
off.
should probably just be aware that that's there, and probably was aware that that was there. So that's where I just wonder if it was a little bit deeper than one sky's shot already. But
No, I mean, I don't even know
I'm
if
digging.
sometimes I don't even know if he has enough time to even process who's there ready to square it up. I mean, I just think it's him just trying to go for it because he thought he had a good chance. But it is what it is. It's more of the same for the Galaxy. Like it's just I'm not. This is not a team. We both said when they got Lozano, we're not like this changes everything. It's just okay. This
Yeah.
feels like the exact same player that Peck is basically like that you're bringing in. So it's not really gonna change what was already going on there. Let's keep moving. We've got Nashville at home, destroying Miami 4-1. This little rivalry that's now just like grown here between these two teams is fun. Every single game was between them seems to be very like feisty, and this one was some of the same. I mean, we had some drama early. Messi misses the pen, and then in the second half, it was Nashville just blitzes Miami, and Miami. I'm just kidding. Like they have a goalkeeping issue. I don't know what is going on and why Dane St. Clair's not playing. Like he's just not. Like they're not starting him. But Novo, he's horrible. He's horrible, Tony. He every week he does something like this. Every single week he has an error like this, and they just keep playing him. Like is Dane St. Clair? Is his leg just like falling off? Like he's on the bench? Like what's going on? You paid this guy all this money to come in, the MLS goalkeeper of the year, and he can't start over this guy that does. He can't. This guy weekly comes out to play a ball and misses like weekly, and it's ridiculous what's happening. So I don't know. Like if they don't figure it out, and maybe like St. Clair's having like I don't know, like some mental issue of like he doesn't feel like the guy right now, and that's he's not playing well himself. But they've got to figure it out because this team's not going to go anywhere if they can't stop a shot. And right now they can't stop a shot. And on top of that, like the attack for Miami just has been lackluster. I know Messi's just getting back in the mix here, and he misses that pen, which doesn't help. But the midfield and defense can only do so much for the Miami attack right now. They haven't been finishing chances that they've been creating. So Nashville, credit to them. They took advantage of it against a full Miami squad in this one.
Yeah. And well, let me start with the goalkeeping thing. Is it too early to give an end of season award right now? Can we do that? I think I want to give Rios Novo the we'll take it from here world player of the season.
Yeah, because he was the one that was like the first play after the World Cup
Yes.
too. Yeah,
I want to give
it's
him that
happening
award.
all
I'm
the
making
time.
that. Yes,
He's
I'm
done it
making
like
that
3 or 4
award.
times since the World Cup. Like it's been like errors that have led to
Yes.
goals. It's
Yes.
crazy.
So I'm going to make that award, and I'm officially giving it to him. So congratulations. It was early. The ballots came out. We still have 10 more weeks, and we don't
His
need to
one
see
race
it.
World Cup is what
Yeah.
he just whipped. He's missed the ball on the kick and it rolled into his net, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, just we don't need to see any more. Voting is closed. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, when it comes to Dane St. Clair, like, he also rode the bench during the World Cup. It's been a long time since he's played.
That's what I'm saying.
I have no idea if that has any factor in it whatsoever, but they certainly need to get that figured out. I know I saw the guys in Soccer Wise talking about it today, like whether or not he's playing or not, like that is an expensive goalkeeping room right now with what they pay both of those guys, like especially Dane St. Clair. They brought him in for a reason, and then just use him on the bench. Like they got to figure that out because that's going to kill them, kind of on the spreadsheet. So definitely got to figure that out. I'm also just going to say you will never be caught saying this more than once at a time. But I think Messi had an off night too. Obviously the missed penalty, but then like towards the end of the game, he had a sequence where he shot it. It went off the right post, landed right back at his feet. He shot it again, and it went off the left post. Like just like unbelievable, like sometimes it's just not going to fall your way kind of night. And I think that there was that at play. And then on top of all of that, we know that Nashville is a dang good team. Espinoza, I think, is back in the fold.
Back. Yep.
And what was interesting, he does get one assist in this game, but I kind of felt like him being back almost shifted all the attention over to him. And then Saad on the left wing, who had 2 assists, by the way, he had a fantastic game. And I think it was almost for an overcompensation to be like, we can't give Christian Espinoza time and space. So the opposite end of the field ended up being a little bit more open and conducive for Nashville to attack with. And they make it work, and that's a real good sign of a good team is, they have multiple avenues to like come and hit you, like and do it well, like execute on a very high clip there. So I think all of that to say, like, Nashville is looking like the supporter shield leader that they are right now when they get results like that. And they've had a really rough comeback, and now to have this result, like, that's exactly what they need to kind of jumpstart their momentum to reach the heights that they were reaching in the first half of the season. So,
Yep.
Very intimidating signs for the rest of the league after watching Nashville put up a score like that.
Yep. Hani's still doing it. He's
Yeah,
still
he is.
doing it. And Serge gets in the mix as well. So that's good signs for Nashville. Moving on, we have Colorado beating SKC. Don't know if you'd spend a bunch of time on this. SKC gets 2 red cards in this one, which they can't really afford to do that when they basically have 14 senior players. So, and then Reggie Cannon, by the way, getting on the score sheet here for Colorado. Wait, did I? Yeah. Okay, Reggie
Yeah,
Cannon.
yeah.
I was like, for a second, I doubted. I was like, wait, that is Reggie Cannon, right? That I remember because he has gone off abroad a couple times at this point. Navarro gets on late in the game, and just total domination. Like, this was an ass kicking. This was like the most predictable outcome of the week. So, good for Colorado, and SKC. We'll see after the sprint season.
One pass into the box.
Oh,
Sporting
really?
Kansas. One pass into the box. So, it was not good. That's really bad, too, when you got Joveljic played over an hour in this game. You'd have no idea. You just wouldn't know. Like, that was part of it. Calvin Harris, shout out, FC Cincinnati alum, 1-on-1 with the keeper, had that. Missed it, so that was their one chance. Also, former Colorado Rapid, so he was trying to score against his old team and no good. So other than that, business as usual. Honestly, for Colorado, I don't like. Yes, you celebrate wins when they come, but this is just a rough Sporting Kansas City team right now. Talking about the cash injection, it's coming soon, but it's not here yet. And until then, they're going to be a very, very rough team.
Totally. RSL going against Minnesota. It's a 1-1 draw. Fair result. Both teams had good chances. Both teams scored late. This one got dramatic late. 82nd goal, 89th minute goal from Minnesota to tie it, get a point on the road. So a big point for them to get out of this one. RSL's been kind of rolling, so I think this was good for Minnesota to fight back late in this one and get a point. And Diego Luna is quietly playing really well right now. Like, really quietly playing really well. So it's good to see him bounce back post World Cup and get rolling again.
Yeah, I think that for both these teams, they're certainly not where they want to be right now. RSL has had that slow-ish start. Now they're heating up a bit. Minnesota, I think, has been honestly a little bit disappointing. We just talked about that Sporting Kansas City team. By the way, Minnesota has lost to in the last few weeks, so got to keep all of that in mind. That being said, RSL really is going to ride on the wings of Diego Luna and Solans. Solans is going to be the name now that Gozo's gone. Gulavogi shows up sometimes. Like that, you watch him play, and they both get after it hard. Like, that's their MO, is just high intensity, going to work harder than you, run faster than you, want it more. Like all of that. That's going to be their key ingredients if RSL is going to go anywhere right now, just where that defense or where the team is as a whole. So I think that's what you got to watch. But if Luna cools off a little bit, which I mean, overall his stock is kind of plateaued. If Salons, just doesn't find the back of the net, he had a couple other opportunities in this game that probably he should have done better with. Then this RSL team's dropping points pretty quickly. So I think that I'm a little bit worried about the stability of RSL. With Minnesota, I just don't even know where to go with them right now. I mean, they're kind of caught in between like an old system and a new system, and just who's all there. And I don't know. There has not been a lot left to inspire, honestly, especially in the attacking creativity. Crazy throwback, but I caught myself thinking about Emmanuel Reynoso the other day, and I was like, oh man, like Minnesota could use a guy like that.
I don't miss that storyline. I don't miss that storyline right now.
I don't miss that storyline, but I miss him as a player on the field.
When he just like didn't show up, like they were just like, we have no idea where this guy is right now.
Yeah. And then he came back like 6 months later and said, I'm sorry, and they played him a little bit.
And then he did it again, right? Didn't he just not show up again?
And then he did it again. Yeah, well, and then like the videos on Twitter surfaced of him hanging out with, on the streets with illegal things. So
yeah,
that's the story. But on the field, they miss him. Yeah.
Or James Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That played.
A little late.
Yeah. He played. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the end of James Rodriguez. Let's clarify that. Okay, LAFC versus San Diego. LAFC gets a goal called back early in this one. Anders Dreyer gets a penalty late. Anders Dreyer also guilty of doing 2 late yellows in this one. Hard foul on Sun late in this one, and Sun was not happy about it too because he got a yellow, I think, for the same altercation in that at the end. Sun had a bad game just from a chance perspective. He had a couple really good chances and didn't finish, and he had been rolling coming in this game too, so it was a bit surprising to see that out of him. But good for San Diego. They needed something like this. I mean, they've been struggles so far this year, and they need like this. But like it's almost that Toronto effect. Like you get this big win, then it's like Anders Dreier's not even going to be there next game. Like what's going on? Like that's this season to a T. So I think against an opponent like this, it doesn't hurt as much because you're like, hey, we got the win against LFC. That was huge. But definitely unfortunate they're going to be missing him next game after the double yellow.
Right. I mean, Dreyer, a lot of that just runs through everything. And also just stings a little bit more. That first yellow was from taking off your shirt for celebrating a goal. So, not a great look there. I will say, shout out FC Cincinnati alum Ian Murphy. Had no idea that he ended up on San Diego from all of our roster shuffle. Yeah, 85 minutes in this one, gets a clean sheet against LAFC. That's good. I mean, this game had a lot of emergency defending from San Diego, and they made it work. There was some impressive clearances, and all of that to say, LAFC I think is kicking themselves and would say that they do better and probably win that game on most days. But that's not what happened the other night. That was San Diego's to control, and they had to make the plays in order to get that result, and they did on the road. So I think that I hear you with the Toronto effect on that. Hopefully, the thing with San Diego has always been the team is the star. Dreyer has always been really, really strong, but it's been a lot about the system and being really hard for an opponent to break down their system. I think that this is just another positive data point with a season that hasn't had a ton to say, hey, we can trust what we got going on here. You can get a little bit of buy-in with how we're playing, those kind of things, because a strong LAFC team like that, if they're struggling against it, which they actually historically have. I didn't know this until I looked back at the head-to-head, but LAFC I don't think has beaten San Diego yet, at least in the regular season. They've tied and they've lost. So I think it goes to show that it's not the easiest setup to play, and that San Diego has a little bit of proof in the pudding.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Good result for them. Last game on Saturday was St. Louis taking down San Jose on the road, 3-1. No Hartzell, no problem. Tony, St. Louis is unbeaten in 10 straight games. They have
Dogs.
skyrocketed up the West. At the same time, Hartle's leaving, so I thought this was maybe the one they were going to start falling off because of that. Nope, that is not the case. And now I'm just begging them to go out and get somebody because this team's electric. Like they are electric to watch.
Yeah.
It is a really fun team to watch. They're hot right now. They're riding the high, and they're playing SKC next week. So you got to imagine it's going to be 11 straight unbeaten, rolling into that one. So it is a great result for them. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, the the good times are dead. They're so dead at San Jose. Like this team is
It's over. It's over. Yeah.
it's looking bad. And you know, it's a result. Like we've talked about it. We've said it many times. This team needed to go out and get talent. Like yes, it's been a great story, but they needed more talent, especially a DP to get in there, maybe to possibly like liven up this group. And they didn't do it. They just haven't done it, and you can see it on the field. Like you can see the lack of talent on the field. So unfortunate because I think if they would have gotten a DP to fill like the 10 spot or something like that, this team could have been a lot of fun to watch. And now it feels like that the gas is running out on this season already. So hopefully they bounce back quick, but it's definitely been a rough stretch here for them.
They listened to you. They got talent, and it was a goalkeeper, and that's about it. That's all they did. So,
You know, free
um,
agent,
you
international
know,
keeper.
yeah, they said your wish is our command. That's it. So, um, yeah, no, it's been bleak. It's hard to put your thumb exactly on what's gone wrong, especially because like in this game, like a lot of preferred guys that were on that run with San Jose in the beginning of the season are available. You know, I think at first I was willing to chalk it up to being a depth issue, but now it almost feels like it's a not a fitness issue, but it's a little bit of the wear and tear of a very full soccer season issue. You know, where if they're not all playing full juice, like it doesn't work that well. So I'm something to watch for sure because nothing has fallen their way because of that right now, and I'm not sure where it turns back around or rights the course or any of that. St. Louis, though, I mean, like, close your eyes and imagine for a second if they would have gotten Kuipers instead of Monterrey. Like, this team would be going freaking nuts.
They were number
Just
two for them too. They were
yeah,
right there.
yeah. And I mean, maybe it's a good sign. I'm sure if they were looking to sign on Kuiper, like swing on Kuipers, I think that's a great target to have. I don't know if they've got any more targets that are like good caliber players that are would be proven in our league or not. But I think it shows promising things. That they're not content with where they're at. They're not going to say, hey, look, you know, this roster right now has won us the last, 8 games or whatever it is. I think they know that they still need to improve in that sense and take more swings, which suddenly makes the St. Louis team like really scary. Maybe we'll call them the NYC of the West because they just made it work, and I think it's been a lot of the fluidity of how they possess and how they attack with the ball that's made them really really dangerous. They're a team that like the GM sporting philosophy is kind of a high pressure, high energy game, but I think what that also does is it gives a lot of the players buy-in, but also it makes targets out of players that kind of have like a lot more of the jack of all trades qualities. And why that's important is if you're being really fluid with where players are at, like anybody can play anywhere, and it's all about movement and what's advantageous, and like you start mixing that all into one recipe together, and you can see why they're successful. It's impossible to defend. It's really hard to mark and know where they're going. So really good things ahead for St. Louis. The rebuild is way ahead of schedule right now.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Moving on to Sunday's slate, we had Chicago take on Portland. Chicago went 2-1, early goals. Robin Lode looks like he's like back to himself, and that's a really good sign for Chicago and what they're doing. Portland didn't have the offensive punch that they've had recently in this one, and I mean, Chicago, they get the early goals and they hold on even from a quiet night from Lewandowski, and you'll take that all day, every day. You said on the text it that we gotta stop playing in non-soccer stadiums. Like I know all the teams that are still
Yeah.
doing it are currently building stadiums, like the ones that are a real issue, which is Chicago, NYCFC, especially like those two. Um, and it was just silly watching this game with like the lines in the field. Like you were just like, what is
Yeah.
this? Like what are we playing in? And then I know, side note, I don't know if you saw Bedoya's
Yes.
Instagram story
His
just
video.
trashing
Yeah.
NYCFC's field, and it was ridiculous. Like why they should not be playing on a field like that. Like that's like someone's gonna get hurt, like legitimately on one of these fields.
Yeah.
And yeah, but regardless, good result for Chicago. They keep rolling. This team's going to be a force to be reckoned with if they get things really going before the playoffs with Lewandowski, like they were with Kuipers.
Yeah, part of me was wondering, like, do you think Lewandowski knew that stuff like this would happen in league games? Like how in the world did they recruit him here, kind of thing. But no, I mean, as far as the actual game goes, I think that this was a very classic Chicago performance for how we know them this season. Honestly, pretty classic Portland performance too, with how we know them this season. Maybe not so much post Neville era, but still, it's just kind of the makings of where it's at. Is they just haven't been airtight in a while, and I think that Chicago is definitely a team that will show you where all the gaps and holes are. So, yeah, I thought that this was a not to be like boring, but like this is a pretty predictable result where you had goals and you had the home team in Chicago winning. So, not too much commentary on this one other than I like your shout on load. I think Lewandowski, like, I mean, obviously he only played now in this game, still had some good minutes, had a shot that had forced a really nice save out of Pantemis. I think they're going to be just fine with where they're at.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into the field I was talking about, which is NYCFC. They go up 2-0 into half, lose this game 3-2 against the red hot Philadelphia Union. Dude, I'm just convinced this team's gonna make the playoffs. I think it's gonna happen. It
No,
would
that's
be
insane.
awesome. Where are they at now? They're
13th.
still, dude. They're only 5 points out of a playoff spot. This team is making the playoffs. It's crazy how they've already like surpassed their total amount of points before the World Cup, like easily. As a team, I think they have like what 12 since then, and they had 7 before that.
It's
um,
crazy.
but no, you can see it on the field. So, three things. I'm gonna know three things that have made this team look significantly better. It is, of course, Kai Wagner. Like, I mean, he just
Yeah.
elevates this team. Like, we all knew that was gonna happen. It was just a bizarre deal. Like that. That's really what it came down to. And it was
Yeah.
we didn't know if everything else around it would help enough. Uh, Quinn Sullivan coming back. You saw that on full display in this game. I mean, the unselfish pass at the end of this one to win this game at the end was great. And then them just unleashing Cavan Sullivan has fully unlocked this team. And he also had an unselfish pass to lead to the tying goal in this one. So those two. By the way, always cool to see. It's always cool to see like two brothers get on the field and just ball out. Like they're just like you can tell they're two of the better
Yeah.
players in the team. So that's a lot of fun. But it's a fun story. I mean, like I don't want to play them right now. Like they are the type of team that you don't want to run into on any given day right now. And Kevin Sullivan, his U.S. men's national team stock is just going up, up, up right now. Like that's the way he's playing, and it's going to be exciting to see him go abroad when that day finally does come.
Yeah. It kind of makes the whole like Bradley Carnell era of this season for Philly look so confusing. Why they just kept Cavan locked up. Like the fans screamed for it and screamed for it. Like if we're gonna suck, at least play him. And
Mm-hmm.
he wouldn't, and he wouldn't, he wouldn't. And then finally they do. He's good. The team starts winning. Like it does not make any sense why they did that. I will not
Do you think he
understand
like
that.
rubs some people the wrong way? Do you think it's a personality thing?
I mean, I could
Like I know he's the
see.
character,
Yeah,
but and he's still young, and I don't know if it's some guys would be like, "Yo, I'm not having a 16-year-old play on my team." Like
right.
if it's something like that, but like I don't know how you don't watch this guy in training and be like, he's clearly one of the better players on our team. Like
Yeah,
the dribbling he does past guys in games right now is
is
utterly
nuts.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yes. I don't know like how he just kind of has the mindset that he's like, yeah, I'm going to take on a 30-year-old adult here right now, like,
Yeah,
and just like it's on. Yeah, that's the craziest part of all of this is he's a child, and like there's like full grown men that are like just going to like lay in
be like
tackles on him,
what,
you
like
know.
a sophomore in high school? Like,
Yes, he should be in geometry as we
yeah,
speak. Yeah, like it's nuts. So like I don't know if he rubs people the wrong way. I do like kind of what you said. I wonder. I think there are quirks with him, like when he's going to the media and saying like I accept full responsibility. Like I have no
I love
idea
that.
how his locker room. Well, but what does his locker room think of that? Like all right, man, you have to accept full responsibility, or like is the
Yeah, I
captain
mean,
pissed off, or
I
like
actually
those
don't
kind of
think
things.
that's it at all. What I'm referring to, like, I think that's
Yeah,
actually shows maturity more than anything, and I think his teammates would appreciate that as well as like, hey, he's going out there and he's not putting anyone else under the bus. So it's like, and I don't think they even like talk about it. I think it's probably just like an unspoken respect thing. It's just more like I think sometimes the character of like the star boy can rub people the
hmm
wrong way, and I think he's a like flamboyant character where he's just like, I think he is. I mean, he's a 16-year-old like that. It's
yeah,
kind of natural
very
with that
fiery.
age.
Yeah,
Um, so I think I don't know if it's something like that, but regardless of that, just the talent is undeniable, and it's something I'm excited about. Like in this new generation of U.S. men's national team crop coming in, where like you've got to imagine like they're looking at him and being like, we've got to set this guy up for so much success as a program, whether it's Manchester City, like I know that deal exists, like him going there, and setting, make sure he's getting playing time wherever he goes because he's that type of talent. I mean, at the age of what, like 14, he was being talked about as like the greatest U.S. men's national team prospect ever, and
right.
like that's the type of kid you're dealing with, and now seeing him on a weekly basis get a goal and assists, like some type of feature in a game, and doing it at the age of 16, like you got him at like when this dude's 21, he's gonna feel like a veteran, and he's only that's still
Correct.
5 years from now. So,
Right.
um, I think it's super exciting to watch, and over the next 2 years now before he goes to Manchester City on that contract, like we're gonna be able to see him take some huge steps. I gotta imagine.
Yeah, I agree, and like that's the amazing thing too is we've seen him just from last season to this season. Like he's already taken that next step, and like you assume that there's still several more of those next steps, and that's what makes him exciting at this age, right? So, yeah, that's been a really big part of it. Fun thing to watch. Going to be really fun to watch the Sullivan Bros in general. Now that Quinn's back from his injury, I think it's going to add a level of chemistry and dynamism to this attack that we have not seen in a while, and that was part of like the Union's mo. It was like just again kind of the outwork you mentality, which they've been missing for a lot of this season. And I think that with both those brothers, it comes back at big time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's keep it moving. Two more games here. Dallas take down Austin on the road. Not super shocking result. Dallas gets the second goal late. Peter Musa back on the score sheet, doing what he does best in a game that Austin couldn't really create much. I know Austin moved on in the Leagues Cup, so like they're going to be having that to play for. So I think that they are probably that's probably where their focus is in the season that they're having. So I don't know if they're even
Right.
necessarily like super upset about this result, but good 3 points for Dallas to get 3 points on the road as always in a good crowd like Austin always has.
Yeah, I think that Dallas really had control of most of this game. Brief moments where you saw Austin get their chances, and obviously, like you said, when you got a stadium and crowd like Austin, it does feel pretty electric. Shout out Matthew McConaughey and Shane Gillis for being there and rooting them on. But like, yeah, this was never really Austin's to win. It just felt like they could not find control in this one, and Dallas really made. I wouldn't say light work. I think there was there's testy times there, but and if it weren't for like a Musa just banger, like we could be talking about this game differently, but it just felt like in general Dallas had a lot more control, a lot more of the chances, and this game really played the way they wanted it to.
Totally. Last one here: Seattle at home versus Vancouver, losing 2-1. This game should have been worse than two nothing. This game should have been worse than 2-0. Um, I don't know. I saw like some discourse on Twitter about this, but I don't know when we hit the point, but it feels like people are getting fired in Seattle. I don't see this one ending well. Like Tony, this team, the only team that has scored less goals than them this season is SKC, and it's barely. Like they don't
That's
score, they
crazy.
don't produce anything. No one's healthy. They have the most veteran team in the league, and they don't, and that shows with their injury report. And usually that's been what's been able to like get them over the line is like their veteran depth, and you can just tell they're not up for it. Like most nights, like people would just look more lively than them, look better than them, and it's not just a rough patch anymore. Like this is a team that's well below the playoff line now, and they were sitting pretty before the World Cup. Like they were in a great spot. They had less games played. Now they've played a ton of games and they're losing every single game. Like they're not even drawing game. Like they are losing every single game. And there hasn't been one that I feel like they've deserved to win in a long time. Like it has been like rightfully losing games. And I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if it's like a time for change in Seattle, like if it's just now gone stale, like what's been going on there for so long. But it feels like it's just been on a downward trend for a little bit, and this is now like red alert time because this is a squad that is it's just getting beat up every single week.
Yeah, I was gonna say honestly, on my first of the list to fire may be the doctor on this team because I do not understand like how all these injuries keep happening other than age and maybe turf.
Or
And I
like
guess news hit too
sign
that
someone below the age of 30, and then the only one they have
that
is
helps
Pedro de
too.
la Vega, and he doesn't. He's
Yeah, I
always
was
hurt.
yeah correct. Or it helps to just sign anyone. They don't really do that either. So
That's
they just don't
part
bring
of
in
it.
new players too much. Um, Couple things. The Pedro de la Vega injury apparently seems pretty serious. I guess I saw a quote from Schmetzer after this game was that he's likely done for the season, which is just, I mean, like I feel bad for the player, man, but like this is just, I like how
That's
do
the
you
end
get
of
so
him in
little out of
Seattle.
a
There's no way
DP?
that he's back after
Yeah,
this year.
no, no way Seattle keeps him. The other side of this too is that I saw the last player that they have gotten in a summer transfer window was Pedro de la Vega. All their work had exclusively been in the winter prior to
Whoa,
that.
really?
Yes, that's what I saw. Wikipedia.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
but yeah, so like they don't do anything in the summers, and the run it back, I think that the well is finally run dry. Like these players, like I think in their heyday have all been great, but you know, and Ferreira leaving an injury, but even if he was on the whole time this game, do you really think that this was going to end any differently? You know what I mean? Like he hasn't been a big impact. Rusnak used to be a really strong player in this league. Feels like he doesn't leave much of an impact anymore. Um, you know, I don't know what to say anymore with these teams. Like even if Jordan Morris was starting, I just don't know if you feel his impact anymore either. So it does seem like the new guard needs to enter Seattle. If that means a new coach with it, then so be it. If it means a new GM with it, like I think that could potentially be on the table too. I think overall, my frustration with Seattle is that they are a team in a fan base in a large market that draws some of the bigger attendances in the league, and then it just feels like so much of that just gets kept in their pocket, and that they don't turn around and spend. Like, prior to Atlanta, they were pulling Atlanta type attendance numbers, and we see what Atlanta does, with their revenue. Why doesn't Seattle do the same thing? I just I don't understand that. Like I think Seattle needs to be in that conversation as well as with spending power, and they're just not. So I think that's a bigger frustration with me is like they're just it feels very cheap how they're
Yeah,
going through and running everything back. So
and they usually get forgiven because they somehow manage to win a trophy most years.
yes,
And
correct.
but when you have runs like this, you're not going to get forgiven, and it's like you got to
Right.
figure it out. And as these guys get older, it's not going to get better. So we're just hitting that point with a lot of these guys. Okay, well that's our recap. I think Tony, for our preview, like I said, we're already an hour over, so I don't want to string this out too long. I think what we're gonna do is just listen to Stin here. We're gonna get his picks, and then we'll both say what we think about the games as well, just really briefly, like our quick predictions of those 5 games. So let's hear it from our guy Stin and what he's got for us this week.
Welcome to the onslaught of the midweek. Chase Adams and Caden Clark combined have scored more non-penalty MLS and MLS Next Pro goals than Prince Owusu under Laurent Courtois. Columbus is stinky, but Montreal is stinkier. Columbus 4, Montreal 2. The 2 biggest MLS signings of the summer square off in a massive matchup. The Fire are red hot, and Orlando have cooled off a bit. Water or fire? Choose your starter. I've got the Bleach Grimace. Orlando 2, Chicago 2. Never forget one of the greatest MLS games of all time. As a City fan and a sicko, I'm a certified Cavan Sullivan glazer. Kai Wagner is such a difference maker. Messi is still feeling down. Give me the team with momentum here. Philly 3, Miami 2. This matchup used to be a guaranteed low-scoring game, but as the times change, all good things must come to an end. Horvath is no Carlos Coronel, and Nashville is rolling. Espinoza will show his former mentee, Cade Cowell, how it's done. New York Rebels 1, Nashville 2. I love the Barbecue Bowl. A prime game for the sickos to bridge the gap after 7:30 games. No need for Marcel Hartel. St. Louis has Marcel Hartel at home, a.k.a. Simon Betcher. Take SKC down to the Missouri River to tend the Wabbits. SKC 1, St. Louis 3.
Thank you, Stin, as always. And to quote him himself, this was prime Stin doing his predictions here. Great lines in there. If you please just go back and listen. If you skipped it for some reason, you're back to me talking. Just go back. Just listen. Enjoy the minute. Enjoy the minute of these picks.
Yeah, drink it in.
First game, he had Columbus beating Montreal. I think we're in the same boat here. I think we both feel like we're confident in what Columbus is doing, and I think 4-2 is crazy. I think it might be 4-0 Columbus in this one.
Yeah, I mean, that Columbus defense needs all the help it can get. We saw that against Charlotte, which is, they put up 3 on a team that doesn't really score a lot. I don't think I would go clean sheet for Columbus. You can always count on that Owusu penalty. So I'd maybe dial it down, but like a 3-1 I could get behind. I think Columbus at home makes sense, yeah.
The next one, he had Orlando and Chicago drawing. Of course, you've got the 2 La Liga guys and Griezmann and Lewandowski going back after it after just playing each other this past year in La Liga. So we'll see how that one goes. He had a draw. I don't hate that. I think it's in Orlando. I can see a draw in this one as well. I'll stick there, and I think I'm going to predict both guys get on the score sheet in Griezmann and Lewandowski.
Yeah, I like the star power in this one. Obviously, like we'll be at our game, but if I were not, I would probably have this on at least one monitor just to watch this game. I think that we do have goals here. I just kind of feel like right now Chicago is just a little bit more rounded out. I also mentioned too, like Orlando playing really hard. How sustainable is that going to be now when the games are starting to pile up? I just think Chicago is built a little bit better to resist that at the moment. So I'm going to go Chicago on the road here.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like it. Then we have my favorite match of the week, which is Philly-Miami. You've got, of course, Red Hot Philly against Miami. He needs to bounce back. He's got Philly beating Miami. I think this might be where we see the hype die because I think Miami's desperate right now.
Yeah.
They have not. They need a win, and it's really going to come down to who's playing in the midweek for a lot of these teams in these predictions. Like, our team's going to rotate it all with the game in the following weekend after just playing Saturday. So we'll see. But I'm going to go Miami. I think I trust them more. Now, if Novo's starting, I might change my opinion. So, but I'm gonna go. You know what? No, I'm going draw. They get a shared point out of this one.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Miami. It's not happening. I just think ultimately, like, they're gonna be as long as Miami can be press resistant. If they can just get the ball to Rodrigo De Paul and Casemiro, if they can get off that last line, I think Philly doesn't stand a chance with how they're going to be able to defend. So, yeah, I'm taking Miami here.
Red Bulls and Nashville's the next game he predicted. He had Nashville winning 2-1 on the road. I think it could actually be worse than that. I think I see Nashville
agree.
really controlling this one. So I'm going to go Nashville. I think it might be more like 3-1 in this one. Once again, comes down to who's playing, and if they are rotated, I actually think it favors Red Bulls because of the youngsters having fresher legs. But we'll see. I will still go Nashville to win this one. They've proven during rotation to still win all year, so I'm not going to pick against that.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm taking Nashville too. I just think the Red Bulls defense is particularly what I'm worried about in this matchup. Like I just think that Nashville's attack is going to send the Red Bulls to the moon here.
And then to finish us off, Barbecue Bowl, St. Louis taking on SKC. He had 3-1. St. Louis. I'm going 4-0. St. Louis. St. Louis. This wagon don't stop.
Jeez.
They're gonna kill SKC, and that's my prediction for this rivalry game.
I'm going to go draw because rivalry games never go the way you think they will. Yeah, that's right. That's right. They're going to dig deep.
The unbeaten
Sporting
squad.
Kansas City 2 Reds doesn't matter. I just think that the train's got to slow down a little bit. These rivalry games always play crazy. Doesn't matter, who's available, who's not. So I'm going to take a draw. Just go a little bit alt. I've already picked too many away teams.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm going to equalize.
I know.
Yep.
I'm an away sicko right now for sure. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there. We will see you guys on this Friday for a recap and a short mini preview as well for the weekend. So with that being said, we will see you guys on Friday for some more MLS.
See ya.